What's good, everyone? Welcome back into Behind Your Basketball. What a wild NCAA tournament it has been. It's just been incredible streaming these NCAA tournament games, and if you haven't tuned into one of my play-by-play live streams before, I would highly recommend it. In this video, I'm going to do my Final Four preview with the first matchup slated to tip off on Saturday at 6:09 p.m. when the number 9 seed Florida Atlantic Owls taking the number 5 seed the San Diego State Aztecs. Now, let's get to the preview. We'll take a look here first at FAU, Florida Atlantic, the number 9 seed, Cinderella to the Final Four. As Florida Atlantic joined the ranks of 2006 George Mason, 2011 VCU, 2013 Wichita State, and 2018 Loyola Chicago as some of the previous NCAA tournament mid-major Cinderellas to make the Final Four as a 9-11 seed. Just an amazing story for Florida Atlantic this season. FAU is picked to finish 5th in Conference USA in the preseason. 35-3 record entering Saturday's Final Four under head coach Dusty May. He has done an incredible job this season putting FAU on the map. Dusty May taking a team that just hovered around a 500 winning percentage for his past 4 seasons as head coach, and now in his first head coaching position to a 35-win season at FAU in their first Final Four appearance in program history. Florida Atlantic started their men's basketball program back in 1988. They didn't even have an NCAA tournament win until this tournament. FAU had just won other NCAA tournament appearance. That was back in 2002. As the Owls journey this season, most likely a once-in-a-century type of moment for Florida Atlantic. That is, however, unless Dusty May does come back next season, and if May retains his players on the roster, then we're looking at a second chance that FAU can make a deep run, Cinderella-type run to the Final Four once again as possible. Now we take a look at the number 5 seed, the San Diego State University Aztecs. SDSU got their redemption on this year's bracket with a packed upperclassmen roster. They finally got over the hump after 2 straight first-round exits in 2021 and 2022. SDSU entered this year's tournament with 3 first-round losses in a row back in 18, 21, and 22, as they had not won a first-round game since 2015 prior to this year's tournament. Baylor and Kansas got their redemption, winning back-to-back national championships after COVID canceled out in the 2020 NCAA tournament. Now here's an opportunity for San Diego State to do the same, to get revenge on the team that went 30-2 back in 2020 for the Aztecs. As San Diego State currently has 4 players in this year's Final Four team from that 30-win team back in 2020. Those 4 players are Kashaw Johnson, Nathan Mensah, Adam Seiko, and Ugwak Arope. Just an amazing story here is that SDSU's head coach Brian Dutcher stayed with the Aztecs as an assistant coach for 18 years. He waited for the opportunity to take over the head coaching role, and that dream happened to come true back in 2017 when former SDSU head coach Steve Fisher retired, and then Dutcher took over in his late 50s. And now here he is at age 63, Brian Dutcher, leading the Aztecs to a Final Four in his first head coaching stint. What an incredible job Dutcher has done at San Diego State. Now we take a look at Florida Atlantic's NCAA tournament path. In the first round, FAU narrowly squeaked out the victory over the number 8 seed Memphis 66-65. Memphis gave that game away. Head coach Penny Hardaway, he did not take out DeAndre Williams with 17.5 minutes left to go. Williams committed his 4th personal foul, and then a terrible Memphis turnover with 5 seconds remaining. Up by 1 for the Tigers led to a Florida Atlantic steal at midcourt, taking the timeout, and then after the timeout, a basket then scored off the inbounds by Nick Boyd to win the game for FAU to continue their dream season. In the second round, Florida Atlantic won over the number 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson 78-70. FDU got their upsetting number 1 seed Purdue in the first round. It was a back-and-forth game throughout the second half against FDU, but in the end, Florida Atlantic able to pull it out. In the Sweet 16, Florida Atlantic won over the number 4 seed Tennessee 62-55. Tennessee had shut down Duke in the second round prior to that matchup. Florida Atlantic scored over the 57.9 points per game that Tennessee allows opponents to average this season. Tennessee's got a top 3 ranked defense. Florida Atlantic able to score enough on it, and then Tennessee could not score enough offensively to keep themselves in the game as Tennessee put together an offensive dud, shooting 33% from the floor, 26% from 3, and just 58% at the free throw line. And in the Elite 8, Florida Atlantic winning over the number 3 seed Kansas State 79-76. FAU trailed by 9 points in the second half. They came back. They won with their depth being too much for K-State to handle. Florida Atlantic won despite 22 total turnovers, a season high for the Owls, as the Owls were plus 22 on the glass, 44-22. Now we take a look at the NCAA tournament path here for San Diego State. In the first round, SDSU won over the number 12 seed Charleston 63-57 as the Aztecs completely took Charleston's sharpshooting game away as they limited Charleston to shoot the ball just 5 for 24 from three-point range. That's the second lowest three-point percentage all season long by Charleston. In the second round, San Diego State winning by a big margin, 75-52 over the number 13 seed Furman, as SDSU got a great draw in the first 2 rounds to start. They smashed the Furman team that attempts a frequent number of three-point shots just like Charleston. And Furman got there because they were able to make the game-winning shot over Virginia right before the buzzer, as Furman was held to their third lowest three-point shooting percentage of the season against SDSU. In the Sweet 16, here's the big upset. San Diego State knocking off the number 1 overall seed Alabama 71-64. An incredibly impressive victory by the Aztecs, as this was the game that SDSU showed America who they are made of, and they are for sure real. Knocking off the number 1 seed as the Aztecs came down from 9 points trailing in the second half. They limited Alabama to shoot just 3 for 27 from three-point range. That is the second lowest three-point shooting percentage of the season for the Crimson Tide. And Brandon Miller was stifled by San Diego State's defense. Miller was limited to shoot the ball just 3 for 19 from the floor. And in the Elite 8, San Diego State won against the number 6 seed, the Creighton Blue Jays, 57-56. A resilient win for the Aztecs. They trailed by 8 points and limited Creighton to just 2 for 17 from three-point range. That happened to be a season low. Now we will take a look at the strengths for both of these teams. Number 1 for Florida Atlantic. FAU is deep. They rank second in the nation in bench points per game. They average 33.16 bench points per game. Though the numbers are not incredibly high in the tournament, Florida Atlantic is plus 21 in total bench points in the NCAA tournament. As Florida Atlantic, they play 9 guys who average anywhere from 16 to 26 minutes per game. Those 9 players average anywhere from 4 points per game to just under 14 points per game for the Owls. Number 2 is rebounding. FAU ranks 16th in the nation, averaging above 39 rebounds per game. The Owls are even better on the defensive glass, ranking number 9 in the nation, averaging above 28 rebounds per game defensively. FAU has out-rebounded their last 7 opponents entering the Final Four. The Owls are coming off a game in which they out-rebounded Kansas State 44-22 in the glass. They were 14-5 in the offensive glass and 30-17 on the defensive glass. In the NCAA tournament, Florida Atlantic is out-rebounding opponents 161-129 on the glass. That is plus 32 rebounding in favor of FAU. Florida Atlantic has a solid rim protector with 7'1" center Vladislav Golden. He recorded his first double-double of the year against K-State with 14 points and 13 rebounds. Number 3 for Florida Atlantic is their well-balanced attack. FAU has proved that they can beat defensive-minded teams, like that win over Tennessee, and also, they can keep up with higher-scoring teams with more firepower, like Kansas State. The Owls have multiple players who can attack you offensively. They got John L. Davis, Elijah Martin, who had a sick poster dunk against K-State, Nick Boyd, he scored a game winner against Memphis, and then their big man, Vladislav Golden, who's the tallest player on the floor in this matchup. The Owls limited Tennessee to just 55 points in their game, so Florida Atlantic as well. They are balanced on both sides of the basketball, offensively and defensively, this season. Now we take a look at San Diego State's strengths entering this matchup. Number 1 for the Aztecs is their depth. Just like Florida Atlantic, San Diego State is deep itself. SDSU ranks number 22 in bench points per game, averaging above 26 bench points per game this season. Through the 4 games in the NCAA tournament, San Diego State is outscoring opponents from the bench 91-36. That is plus 55 in bench points. And the Aztecs are averaging 22.75 bench points in the tournament. The Aztecs go 9 players deep, averaging 16 to 27 minutes per game, and also those players average anywhere from 4.5 points per game to 12.5 points per game. Number 2 for San Diego State is their defense. Their defense has been sensational. That's the reason why they are here in the Final Four. They are allowing opponents to average 57.3 points per game in the tournament, 3 of San Diego State's victories have come against facing explosive top 20 ranked offenses, with Charleston, Furman, and Alabama. Creighton ranked in the top 65 in scoring this season. Up next, the Aztecs have to limit a top 40 ranked offense in scoring in Florida Atlantic in the Final Four. And number 3 for San Diego State is experience. SDSU returned 4 players from their 30-win season in which the NCAA tournament was canceled in 2020. San Diego State has the edge with 8 seniors and 5 juniors on the roster. That's 13 upperclassmen on the roster currently for SDSU. Florida Atlantic, they have just 1 senior, 3 juniors, and 8 sophomores. FAU starts 1 junior and 4 sophomores, going up against an incredibly experienced bunch for SDSU. Now we will get to the keys of the game. For Florida Atlantic, number 1, cut back on the turnovers. FAU committed a season-high 22 total turnovers against Kansas State in the Elite 8. The Owls will have their hands full with Lamont Butler, who is named All-Defensive Team to the Mountain West this season, and also Darian Trammell, who ranked in the top 10 in the Mountain West in steals this season as well, along with Butler. Number 2 for FAU is attacking more from 2-point range. Florida Atlantic led Conference USA this season, converting on over 54% of their 2-point shots. SDSU's defense has been able to lock down opponents from the perimeter this tournament, as they rank number 3 in the nation in perimeter defense for the Aztecs. But if there's a way that you can attack San Diego State, it is through the 2-point shooting. The Aztecs have been leaky inside this season. They are ranked mid-pack in the Mountain West in 2-point shooting defense, allowing opponents to shoot 49.4% on 2-point shots. Number 3 for FAU is to have better shooting efficiency. And through this tournament, Florida Atlantic, they have felt like they have needed to shoot the ball better from the floor entering the Final Four. FAU makes an average of over 9 made threes per game. That ranks number 14 in the nation. They shoot around 36.5% from 3-point range, which is good for top 40 in the nation. Florida Atlantic will need to make their shots to get ahead and stay ahead, which will force San Diego State to beat you offensively, which the offense is the weak part of the Aztecs. FAU did not shoot the ball well in the first 3 games of the tournament, as the Owls were held to shoot the ball 42% or less in the first 3 games of the bracket. But in the last game against Kansas State, Florida Atlantic had their best shooting game of the tournament, converting on 48% of their shots and 38% from 3. And the last key for FAU, that is to keep crashing the glass. What helped out with Florida Atlantic winning over Kansas State was that they put Keontae Johnson into foul trouble, and that took away K-State's top rebounder. This task, though, it's going to be a whole lot tougher facing a deeper San Diego State team, which has 3 players averaging at least 5 rebounds per game. In the NCAA tournament, Florida Atlantic is out-rebounding opponents 161 to 129 on the glass. They are plus 32 in rebounding for FAU. The common theme of Florida Atlantic's losses this season, or close games this season, that's been because they have lost the battle on the glass. In their last loss against Middle Tennessee back on February the 16th, Florida Atlantic was -6 in the glass. FAU won by a combined 5 points to Louisiana Tech this season through 2 games because Louisiana Tech battled right with FAU on the glass in both of those matchups. Now we take a look at the keys to the game for San Diego State. Number 1, physicality and defense. The Aztecs have taken some of the top scoring teams right out of the bracket by locking down their opponents. San Diego State is super physical. They can wear you down throughout the course of a 40-minute collegiate game. They make every single possession a challenge. The Aztecs will look to make this a grown man's game on Saturday. They will bully FAU defensively. SDSU will look to force stops and then slow the tempo down and control the game through their defense and slowing down tempo. It ain't pretty, but San Diego State will look to find ways to win and make enough stops to pick up the W. They won by a final score of 45-43 at Fresno State this season. Wasn't a pretty game, but able to get the job done. Number 2 for the Aztecs for a key, they will need to be efficient enough to win. San Diego State's not known for their offense, but they will need to connect on enough shots to win this game. SDSU had a better shooting efficiency game against their first 3 opponents in the bracket. The Aztecs will need to be efficient enough on that first shot attempt because they're going up against a tough defensive rebounding squad with Florida Atlantic. Number 3 for San Diego State, that is limiting FAU's threes. Florida Atlantic has made either 8 threes or 9 threes in their first 4 NCAA tournament games. Florida Atlantic averages over 26 3-point attempts per game, which ranks 20th in 3-point attempts in the nation. The Owls are inside the top 15 in 3-point makes per game with over 9 this season. The perimeter attack for FAU will meet the lockdown perimeter D of SDSU for this matchup. San Diego State has allowed opponents to make no more than 6 threes in every single tournament game. The Aztecs are limiting opponents to shoot 16 for 94 from 3-point range. That is just 17% from the perimeter to 4 NCAA tournament games. That is incredible. That's why they've gotten there. That's why they've been able to get to the Final Four, because of their defense. San Diego State has been able to lock down teams that attempt frequent threes like Charleston, Furman, Alabama, and Creighton. All 4 previous opponents ranked inside the top 55 nationally in 3-point shot makes per game and top 65 in the nation in 3-point shot attempts per game. And the last key for San Diego State, that is to limit FAU on the glass. FAU is a defensive rebounding beast. San Diego State -4 on the glass, 52-48 against Alabama, the top rebounding team this season in rebounds per game. If you can hang on the glass with the top dogs in Bama, you can hang in with anybody else in the nation. San Diego State, they have 3 players averaging over 5 rebounds per game. This team also is deep as well. So now on to my score prediction here. I predicted the Cinderella run. It will end right here for Florida Atlantic. Incredible season for FAU. 35 victories on the season for Dusty May's squad. But I feel like the defense here at San Diego State, it's going to be too much to handle. And SDSU will be able to lock up FAU enough to win this game. It'll be a great one, a close battle to the final minute. And I'm taking the Aztecs to win this game 62-58. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Also, check out my other Final Four preview with Miami versus UConn in the second Final Four matchup. The link to my other preview is posted in the description below this video. Make sure also to catch my play-by-play live streams for the Final Four on Saturday and also the National Championship game on Monday night. Also, like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, as this has been my Final Four preview, FAU versus SDSU on Behind Your Basketball.